Regional Update Japan by Cortney Greyhawk for OL 635, Section D3. Japan is a beautiful country with a rich culture and long tradition worthy of notice and study. The reason I chose to study Japan here is twofold. The first being out of business practicality. The European biomedical company that owns the company I work for was recently purchased by Japanese company Takeda. This is an excellent opportunity to familiarize myself with the newest cultural component of my workplace. The second reason for me studying Japan was nostalgia. My father spent some time in Japan as a Mormon missionary before I was born and brought back a number of foods and cultural habits that were part of my childhood. But these were all out of cultural context, and I'd like to see what they look like within their own cultural context. The animistic practices of Shinto, acknowledging the spirits of animals and places, are as old as the country of Japan itself. Together with Buddhist philosophy, they coexist to make up the undercurrent that influences Japanese culture. In Japan, religion is not a part of daily life, but rather something that is only really seen in significant events such as weddings, funerals, births, and other festivals, explains Quintessential 2018. One of the festivals Japan is most known for is Hanama, which is the cherry blossom festival. And it is just about going out and appreciating the beauty of the flowers in bloom. They also have a similar festival in the fall about watching the leaves change colors. Um, this is something my dad used to tell me about growing up from his experiences in Japan. Food is one way that Japanese culture has already been transmitted to the US. Most people in the US are familiar with eating sushi or ramen at the very least. There are a number of things that to do with food in Japan that haven't transferred to the US and are culturally relevant. For one, when eating rice, you would never put chopsticks standing in the rice. This is because that is a symbol that's used in funerals to offer a meal to those who've passed on. You'd always want to lay your chopsticks across. Additionally, there are some cultural things like uh, it being impolite to pour your own drink. Morgan 2015 explains that it's polite to always pour for those that you share a table with and allow them to pour for you. Um, in business culture, in Japan, it's very popular for people that work together to go out to eat and socialize after work. While not required, it is expected behavior. There are numerous differences in American and Japanese business culture, starting with greetings. A firm handshake starts things off well in the US, but touching as part of a greeting is uncommon in Japan, except for close family. Instead, it is traditional to greet one another by bowing, explains Quintessential 2018. Another noteworthy item is business cards. While Forbes Agency Council 2017 acknowledges the importance of business cards in America may be fading, in Japan they are still of great importance. Michiki Morgan, CEO Natomi Morgan, in 2015 explains the presentation of business cards is a crucial moment. Mishi, the Japanese term for business card, is seen as an extension of a person. So it's always handed to another person with two hands and treated with great respect. Never put in a pants pocket. In Japan, presentation is paramount. Instead of business casual, business attire is formal with suits and ties. It's often the same for women or with a skirt substitute. In keeping with a group mindset, bright colors and jewelry for women is uncommon as it attracts attention. Martizumi, 2013. Whenever crossing borders, it is critical to be mindful of legal and regulatory differences, both in the law and how they are interpreted. Japan is the world's highest context country, and as Myers 2014 notes, there are layers of subtext underneath the words that are shared. This subtext is recognized in legal documents and is considered legally binding, according to International Market Advisor, the IMA, 2015. This makes changes that may be easy in the US or the UK unexpectedly challenging and time-consuming. For instance, the ending of a business agreement, such as changing subcontractors, requires legal justification, even when coming to the end of a contract. Amongst the implicit subtext is the continuation of the relationship, and laws dictate that justification must be provided before changing. When engaging in cross-cultural dialogue or enterprises, it's important to understand other cultures not just as themselves, but relative to cultures you already are familiar with. So knowing whether they prefer to be confrontational or very much avoid confrontation, and whether they prefer hierarchical leadership or indirect feedback or speak implicitly or explicitly is very important in knowing how to speak with them. Each scale paints a small picture of Japanese culture, but is incomplete without the others. For instance, knowing that Japanese businesses is hierarchical is incomplete without also understanding that decisions are based on consensus. While an employee will always get permission from their boss, large decisions use nimuashi, a form of consensus building discussion before large decisions are made.